All right, let's get started. Hi, guys. Welcome to this really special qualifiers call that we just put together. I think it was about time that we had a bit of a leadership call. And, I remember speaking with Kendal, at the the LDW just recently. And I was there was a 10-15 minute conversation. And I seriously haven't stopped thinking about what we spoke about in that conversation, just a little bit about intentional recruiting, intentional how you're speaking to people, how you're setting people up. So I'm really excited that Kendal took the time out of his business today and is coming to have a little chat with us. I just wanted to, first of all, before we get into the call, is just say I'm really proud of everybody. I know, everyone's got their ups and their downs in businesses, but you guys are seriously, leading from the front. You're not having those excuses. You're making things happen, especially leading up to the extravaganza. I think it's, so important to have so much focus and energy into your business. And, we're going to hear from an absolute pro. So enough of me talking. I'm going to pass it over to the amazing executive presidency member, Kendal Robinson. Over to you, Kendal.
Hey, Kara, thanks, man. And it was always great. It was great to meet you and so many of the team, which I don't get a chance to see. The LDW was fantastic. Jess certainly delivered, and all the other speakers delivered. Thank you for letting me come on your special qualifiers call. Congratulations for qualifying. And that's leadership. And for all of you that are on the call, I appreciate your time. I'm going to whip over very quickly our story. Deborah and I got started 21 years ago. We responded to a little ad in the paper that said earn dollars and lose weight. And that's what really got us started. Our sponsor got us around to have a free sample. And Deborah came back with the stuff and said, hey, we're going to get on the stuff and we're going to make some money. And our intention really was to make enough money so we could pay for our product. I'd lost a lot of money in a business that I had. In fact, we were $30,000 in debt. And Deborah was working as an administrator in the computer industry. And so that really gave us the possibility of looking for something other than the normal path, because we looked at it, we were newly married, and we figured out that if we both worked on our current salaries, well, when I went back to work, it would take us 14 years to pay off the debt and save enough money for a deposit. And, I was 28 years old at the time, and I thought, wow, 14 years, that's if we didn't have kids. So we really were looking at options to create a different life. So I'm going to whip through some of the stories, some of our pictures, and then I'm going to get onto some stuff which really made a difference for us. And I hope that it will make a difference for you. Again, anything that I share today, make sure that it fits with what your group's doing. Don't make any U-turns on anything. This is mainly a philosophy and different things that you can learn. And I'll share with you where I got some of this information that I'm going to share with you in a few minutes. So if I could learn there we go. So what we're really doing is we're developing ourselves to be diamonds. And if you think about that, that's pretty cool, right? So who of you like diamonds? I know most people on this call today will like diamonds. So we become a diamond and then we collect diamonds. So Herbalife, this is Deborah's interpretation of Herbalife. It's her life. So she said, man, I want my life. I want to take control of my life. And that, can be his or her life, but for Herbalife, that was pretty cool. So Deborah got on the program, lost 20 kilos, and has kept it off now for over 20 years through 2 pregnancies. And she looks better now than when I married her, which is really smart of me. I married extremely well. I don't know if she married well, but I certainly married well. And this was our first extravaganza. And that was a changing sort of event in our life. It was in Brisbane. And fortunately, we were promoted to go to that event, and we didn't have much money to get there. But we made a decision, and that was part of what we're talking about, is the decision to actually take charge of our future. And, yes, I did have more hair back then, but we really made the decision. We got a chance to meet Mark Hughes, Jim Rohn, pretty amazing. And it was a huge event. I think there were like 1,500 people there. But for us, that was the biggest event that we'd ever been to. We then had an opportunity to spend a lot of time with Jim Rohn over the next few years. And that really helped shape some of our philosophy and some of the way we approach our life, not just our herbal life. So that's our youngest daughter, who's now 12. And she just tucked into the yellow from day one, and not day one, so, sort of early on, and she just loves the product. We've had a chance to qualify and go vacations and do different things. That's in the Whitsundays in the Maldives in the bottom left hand. That's in Club Med in, I think, Indonesia, Bali. And then we all need a reason why on what do we want to do, where do we want to go. And if you can get clear on your reason why you're doing things, that's going to help you develop the skills and pull you through any times that you may be struggling in. So my question to you, what's your vision? Are you crystal clear on your vision? If you are, you need to know the numbers that are going to actually make that vision possible. So each of us have different numbers. Each of us have different goals. Each of us are part of the Mark Hughes mission of changing the habits and making people's lives better. So what's your vision? It's a great question to ask yourself. So you need to know your numbers. We have this incredible statistic access to incredible business statistics. I'm suggesting that you learn your numbers and really sit down with whoever's mentoring you and ask how many new distributors do you need to get? You know, what are the new distributors? Because if you're not bringing in new people, it's not going to happen for you. So really make friends with that. Make sure people are qualified. Since we did the screenshot, there's incredible reports that we can now draw on. But I know many of you on the call won't like doing this. Numbers just aren't your thing. If you want to build $1 million business that's going to impact the community locally, nationally, and maybe internationally, learn to actually know the basics and the numbers. This is my opinion. And, you know, one of us have kids. We expect our kids to learn and get out of first grade, second grade, third grade. Here's Herbalife. Learn. You don't have to study this every day, but slowly get some coaching on understanding the numbers. So Stefan Graziani, many years ago, helped us, did some mentoring with us and shared some of the information. So this is from some of the information that Stefan Graziani shared with us. So I hope you enjoy it. Great question. What's holding you back? If you're wherever we are right now, we're not at the higher level because there's something holding us back. So, you know, in your life, we've always done what we've had to do in all areas of our life. So let me explain. So when do you do your taxes? Of course, we all do our taxes, right? So the question is, do you like doing your taxes? Who likes doing their taxes? I know maybe there may be a lot of feedback. So, but just a great question. Who likes doing taxes? Many people don't like doing the taxes. So, you know, when do you pay your taxes? If you don't pay your taxes in this country, you get into a lot of trouble, correct? Most people just pay them on time. In other words, when we absolutely have to. So we generally don't do anything more than we have to do. So that's part of the trick that we have to play on our minds is, so what do you have to do to build your business? So what do the people do that are at a level that you want to be at? What are the things that they do? Sometimes it may not be things that we want to do. It may be getting on calls at different times a day. It may be getting the confidence to talk to people when you're out and about. So think about what would you have to do. So here's a couple of questions that I'd like you to think about. Is what is the foundation of a business builder? I'm assuming everybody on this call wants to develop a career level income. In other words, become a business builder. Is that correct? So who would be your ideal supervisor? You know, think about it. Who would be your ideal supervisor? So these are founder circle members. There are a couple of, you know, if you think about it, wouldn't you like to have these people in your organization? I would. Okay. So what would it take to grow an ideal supervisor? You know, what would you need to focus on? How would you focus on taking somebody on 500 volume points 3 months in a row, or 500 volume points 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, to grow people through becoming, you know, to become a business builder? So this is, as I said, a business builder session. So what does an ideal supervisor do? Well, the job of an ideal supervisor is to build 2,500 volume points or more from customers, because that gives you confidence in the marketplace. It makes sure that you're picking up your check, and it gives you a great ground a great group of people for you to then start building your business. You want to get 500 to 1,000 volume points of new business, volume per month. You really want to do that. So the question that you may want to ask yourself, how many new customers do I need to get per week? Because the reason why you want to know this is, one, for you to take you closer to your destination. But secondly, for you to be able to teach somebody who comes to you and says, I want X, Y, Z from Herbalife. And you could say, well, this is how much money you'll need to make. This is how many customers and how many distributors and how much organizational volume you need to build. So how many more new business people are starting per month? So you need to know your numbers that you need to go for. Otherwise, you can't go for it. And we're very good as Herbalife distributors of misleading ourselves, saying, man, I'm really on track, I'm doing well. Well, great. Are you on track compared to what? How many new people did you get started on the product this week? How many new people did you get started in the business this week? And if you don't know that, you don't know how you can really talk yourself out of being productive. You can be extremely busy, but not productive. So what does an ideal supervisor do? They attend and participate in every training that they possibly can. I don't know anybody that makes a really serious career level income that doesn't, for 2 to 3 years at least, not 2 to 3 weeks, 2 to 3 years, participates and attends everything they possibly can. They just do. Those are the leaders. That's what leaders do. They go to, for me, when I put this training together, it was at least 2 international events a year, because a lot of them were overseas. This year, we don't have to travel for some of the events. But where I was living, we had to travel. We had to go internationally. But certainly you want to go to at least one international event for you to get the vision. Because if you don't have the vision, you're not going to do the things. This is for a career level income. This isn't for somebody who wants to make $500 to $1,000 a month. They don't have to do this. So again, be very clear on your segmentation of the people you're talking to. And this is a business building call. So what else do? They do serious amount of personal development daily. I mean, serious amount. One of the biggest things, and that could be the personal development, maybe I'm going out to develop my conversation skills. It may not necessarily be reading a book. It may be recording yourself doing a presentation and then reviewing it and going, wow, I didn't know that I said that. I said this in a really great way, or I didn't say this in a really great way. So I see people make a mistake of, I'm doing personal development, and they're spending 3 hours a day listening to, Jim Rohn. That's great. But if you're not spending 3 hours a day in the presence of the prospect, you're going to learn more in the presence of the prospect than you are by listening to 3 hours to Jim Rohn. 20 minutes, 30 minutes a day would be fantastic. And then start implementing some of what you're learning to build your business and to help your people build their business. An ideal supervisor has crystal clear goals and a can-do attitude. They're solution-minded. They also follow a system. And I can remember so many times in my career that we'd start with one thing and then 3 weeks later we'd change into something else. And our new people got so confused that nobody stuck around. Just keep the fundamentals really clear on how you introduce people. Have 2 or 3 methodologies that you can put people into, whether it's live meetings, webinars, Facebook and all that, but really have a simple flow of business. And the more people are doing the same thing, the better it is. So how do you attract an ideal supervisor? That would be great. Question to know, right? So you attract somebody with momentum and excitement. And this is really critical. How do you create momentum and excitement? It's a lot of people doing exactly the same thing. So if somebody jumps on a call, it's the same message. If somebody goes to a little training in your bed, in your lounge, it's the same message. If somebody goes to the kickoff, it's the same message. People doing the same things. The reason why you do that, it creates social validation. In other words, people go, well, that's all I have to do. That means I just need to learn how to do that. And it's less confusing for people. And if you want to, I mean, I don't know where I heard this, but I heard it many years ago. If you want to be creative and change everything, great, take up an art class, go jump out of an airplane, do something like that, but don't mess with your business. You know, McDonald's have 18-year-olds running $1 million stores. Why? They keep it simple. Our Herbalife business is really, really simple. It's not easy to keep it simple because we want to be brilliant. And the more training that we get, the more that we think we need to complicate it. And the more we complicate it, the slower the business goes. Okay? So try not to be confusing. And, you know, you come to a meeting and you maybe hear this, whatever it is, whatever trainings you're going to, you always hear from the leadership. If you like something, add it to what you're doing, try it out. Don't run it into your people until you've actually tried it. And all of you have some incredible leadership that you can follow, study, and then practice. I'm going to recommend that you do that. You know, if people are doing different methods all the time and they're saying, well, my method's better and this is better, it's really creates separation within your organization. And those of you that have been around enough, if you've got more than 5 or 6 supervisors, you will have experienced that already. So separation of team slows down your momentum, and our business is a momentum business. So create some new have-tos and think what you really want to develop and think what your next pin is. Because if you know very clearly what your next pin is, you're going to start behaving like that person. So if you think what an ideal person is, that how they behave, if you watch people at STSs, if you watch people at leadership weekends, I can tell literally. I don't have to talk to anybody. They don't have to show me their pin. I'm very clear almost every time. You can tell what level somebody is in the marketing plan by the way their conversation is, by the way they dress, just in the way they are as people. So focus on your next pin. Really find out what it is. Because remember, where your focus is, your energy flows. Okay. Normally we'd have a conversation and we'd have, an example of if you've just bought a new car. Suddenly you notice all these cars on the market that are exactly the same as yours, but you'd never seen them. If you're looking for a house, suddenly you're looking for a house to buy. Suddenly there are house for sale signs everywhere. It was before you never saw them. So you become aware of what you focus on. Okay. So shifting to your next pin, really try and be really clear on where your focus is so that you're not going all over the place like on the left-hand side there and nobody can follow you. You know, really master everything. You know, don't over expect what you can achieve in 90 days. But really master things over the next 3 years. And you will be amazed at what you achieve over the next 90 days by focusing on that and who you're becoming. Okay. So always do local promotions. So if you had these guys coming to your local area, how would you promote? How many people would you talk to? Now, for those of you who don't know these guys, founder circle members. If you had a founder circle member coming to your area, how many people would you talk to over the next month if you knew somebody was coming up at the end of May? And I can promise you, you'd be talking to more people than you're talking to today. Would you agree with that? So, you know, really create your own events. So if you're going to the extravaganza, great. If you're not, and you haven't been to an extravaganza and you're wanting to build a business, a career level business, really, it's a life-changing event. It really is a life-changing event. Most of you have been to many life-changing events along the way, but it's the biggest picture that you can have. And, you know, really it goes back to what do you have to have in your life? And link that to how many people you need to have in your organization. So I always talk to people, if they want to be an active world team member, very simple. You need 125 people on the program. If your average program is 100 volume points. And Herbalife tells us it's about 80 to 100 points statistically. Just because you started on Ultimate, look at your reorders and see what people are reordering and see what people are staying on, and be honest with yourself. So if you think about it, hey, I have to be an Active World team member, I need 125 people. Why? Your 2,500 volume points plus 10,000 volume points in your organization. So when you start thinking like that, you then start wanting to do everything for everybody. You start doing the tell, show, try, do properly to empower people and equip people with the skills. You also think, great, I want to go to Get Team. That means how many people do you need? You know, if you think about that, that's about 225 people, 250 people. So you can't look after 250 people. So how many coaches do you need to be looking after 250 people? And then how can you teach them? What system do you have in place? Or what system can you plug into to actually help them develop that? Okay. So again, what are you focused on? Because it's so easy to get distracted. Really focus on what the important thing is. You know, if you look at extravaganzas, you know, what are you worth? Alan Lorenz would talk about this, and he'd say the ticket, I don't know what this is an older presentation, but I'm looking at the fundamentals are the same. So in Bangkok, you can get a hotel for $100 a night. Put 4 people in it. You know, make a plan. In Bangkok, you know, you can get to Bangkok for $500 to $800. So for under $1,000, you can have an incredible holiday, go to the most extraordinary party festival thing that you could do. Are you worth $1,000? Retail your way to that. Bring some new people into the business and really make it happen. So if your goal is to go and collect diamonds, there are a couple of things that are so important that you need to do. It's to use both sides of, you know, paddle both sides of the boat. If you're only retailing, you're not going to build a business. If you're only recruiting, you're not going to build a business. Nothing has changed in what Mark Hughes promoted all those years ago. Retailing and recruiting all day long. Now, you can lead whichever way you want. Just be really, really crystal clear that you need to be inviting people to the business, because it's almost impossible for you to go to an Active World team unless you are recruiting and showing people the opportunity. So it's really, really important to do that. Have the structures that are around that will allow you to do that. So some of the things that we're doing with our group is we're really getting focused on choosing the 3, 5, or 10 a day. And we have a Facebook group that we post how many people we spoke to. And what we mean by spoke to is actually gave an invitation to somebody for them to see a presentation, whether that's an evaluation, coming to a fit club, you know, getting on a weight loss challenge, doing any form of other challenge, you know, body transformation challenge. But the key is committing each week. Everybody puts on their Facebook, the group that we set up, each week they make a commitment on how many people they're going to invite, not how many people they're going to talk to, how many people they're going to get into a conversation with somehow, that they're going to invite to qualify first, and then invite to see a presentation. Okay. And some of the people, they're going 1 a day. Some of the people saying 3. I've had some people do 5. I haven't seen anybody yet do 5 in some of the groups that we're doing. But if you did 3 a day that you got into a conversation with, you qualified them, and you got into a position that you invited them to see something, I'm telling you, between now and the extravaganza, you would develop such momentum, you'd be crying for help. You'd be crying for people to help you build your business, because it would be so out of control. Because I would bet that if you started this, you don't have to do this, but if you started this just with a very small group of people and you say, listen, I did how many? This is what I'm going to do at the beginning of the week, and you post that on the page. And then each day, at the end of the day, you go, okay, I spoke to 0, 1, 3, not spoke, invited you, gave a powerful invitation to come and look at our business, or gave a powerful invitation to come to a fit club, or gave a powerful invitation to come to and evaluate, whatever it is. but actually have a conversation and then gauge that. It's a very simple gauge, and this is only for people that want to build a business. You may want to try this. You may be already doing something like this, but it's not stories. It's not like, hey man, my kids were sick. It's not an excuse. It's, hey, I spoke to 5, or I spoke to 2, I spoke to 1. And then a little thing, it was a person at the grocery store. It was the guy at the gym. It was whatever it is, where it was and what you invited them to. Okay. So, Carol, I don't know if there's anything else that you want to ask. All I can say is do what you guys are doing. Just do more. All of us, every single one of us in Australia can just do more. Carol, any other comments or any questions from anybody?
Kendal, that was amazing. Thank you so much. I wonder if any of our guys on the call would like to ask any questions. I might just open that up because I mean, like that was half an hour and I took 4 pages of full-blown notes. So, guys, is there anybody that wants to ask Kendal a question while we've got him? Not yet. Well, Kendal, I might step in if I can.
Right.
We sort of had that chat in the Gold Coast, and I wonder if you could just sort of say this to the team as well. But I was sort of struggling at that time with, you know, the quality of person that I want in my business, like the person that I want to recruit, help, and teach, because I was explaining to you that, you know, I've never been pitched on going to events. Like I just knew that this is what successful people do. I just have to do what I have to do. Whereas perhaps I attract some people into my business where I've had to show them, it just kind of hold their hand a little bit too tight and a little bit too much and say, you got to be there, as opposed to just having initiative and being there after you've heard the stories and heard the vision. So, and you sort of had a bit of a different perspective on the language with setting someone up. Could you maybe share a little bit about that?
So yeah, sure. Some of the things, I mean, George and I just talked about this for years, and to be in selection mode, if you're wanting to build somebody into the business, I think a mistake that we make is that somebody gets registered and we think they're a distributor. They're registered to get a discount. And then if you know what their goals are, then you can actually link their goals to the activity that is required. But you don't have to motivate them, because if they're not linked into their goals, they're not going to do it. But even in conversation, if you're meeting somebody, I don't know if everybody in the call has actually been through a job interview, but you don't actually get, say, BHP are employing somebody. They're not begging you to come to the job interview. Do you understand? So the conversation is, and they go, hey, listen, say, Caro, I think you might be interested in a job that we've got going. You might have the skills. Why don't we catch up next week at such and such a time? We're not desperate for the person. And we use normal languaging. I don't know why people, when they join Herbalife, they use languaging that's, I don't know, weird. Just use conversational languaging. And then when you're in selection mode, you can do this even with clients. So there's Kelly Yateman, who, I don't know if any of you are going into Bangkok, you'll hear her train. And she'll go, listen, if you want to get on the program, that's great, after the evaluation. And I can send you her script. And she says, listen, everybody I work with gets incredible results. And there's a couple of reasons for that. I've adjusted it to the way I do it, but I can send you her draft. And the couple of reasons for it is that they're 100% committed to improving their health. Are you 100% committed to improving your health? Because I only work with people that are 100% that are committed to improving their health. That puts it in a whole different perspective. And then she says, then I give them 100%. And over the next 8 days, we're going to help you find 3 to 5 ways that you're just going to absolutely love the smoothie. And you're going to find the ways how to do that. And you're going to find some that you're going to like and some that you don't like. But by the end of our 8-day follow-up program, it's just going to be extraordinary. It's going to be one of your favorite meals that you're going to look forward to, is the shake. And the smoothies are going to be the something that you're going to be just like mouth-watering for. Are you prepared to go with me on that journey? It's going to be an incredible adventure. You're going to get the results that you're looking for. You're going to have more energy. It's going to be awesome. So, Cara, are you interested in coming with me on that? So that conversation with the clients. And then if somebody's looking at doing the business, if they're not clear on the goal, if you have to motivate them all the time, it's too hard. You can't help enough people. Jim Rohn talks about it. You can help 1,000, but you can't carry 3 on your back. And often we're trying to get people to do things that they actually don't want to do. They're not ready to do. And if they're not ready to do it, work with them by group, put them on your Facebook page, get them to do personal development, but they need to be ready to do it. I don't know if that's part of what you were looking for, Cara, but maybe you need to guide me a bit more on things that I may have said to you on the evenings and different things.
No, absolutely, Kendal. That was awesome. I think it was I think you really did touch on that. More so someone where you have to kind of like bring them up all the time. Like, you can do this, you got this, but perhaps it's just all in that. Like, it's someone who's, self-motivated and finds their personal development when they're, down in the dumpster and need to be at the event or things like that. So no, I think you're right. Like, people have to want to do it themselves.
Yeah. And it's really hard because we've all had people, if you've been in the business any length of time, whether it's customers or distributors, things get in the way. And it's never to give up on somebody. That's not what I'm saying, because everybody's important. And the smaller, when I say smaller stories, the incomes, the $300 to $500 incomes are the most powerful incomes. And I personally believe we need to really make those shine and make those people shine. And that gives them confidence. But understand that some of those people, if they stay at $300 to $500 a month, that's where they're meant to be. And if you have to really motivate them all the time, it's too hard for them. They feel like they're being pushed. It's too hard for you. And some of our conversation can get better in talking with them so that they're happy with where they are. And then we need to go out and find new people. Because that's the reason why we spend a lot of time with people that aren't ready, is because we haven't gone out and found new people, or we haven't worked deep enough in their circle of influence to find somebody that they can bring us that is actually motivated, and then work with that person to help them go to wherever they want to go. And then the people above will be impacted by association. I talked about social proof. If you've got enough people moving through the marketing plan that are excited, and with the recognition stuff that you guys have going on, those that are going to want to do it are going to want to do it. Those that aren't. And sometimes the people who need it the most are not open for whatever reason. Because I got a question for you. Who motivated you? Who forced you to get on this call? For those of you that have been to the spectacular, who forced you to? No one did. You might have been promoted, but it's like, hey man, come, it's going to be great. This can really take you to the next level. It's awesome. But nobody said, man, you have to be there. Well, they might have. Some people do that. I never do that. Because if I have to motivate you like crazy to get there, I'm going to probably have to motivate you. I've had some people come to events and they've gone shopping. They've flown all the way to Singapore and they spent the first day shopping. And in the old days, that used to stress me. It used to really stress me. I'd like get on their case. You come all the way, you spend all this money. And then I sort of realized, wow, that's really interesting. That's their journey, not mine. Let me find people that actually came to the event and actually went to work. And it's hard to do. It really is.
Yeah, awesome. So cool. So good. I think we have one more question. Em, do you want to come in and ask that question?
Yeah, thanks, Caro. Hey, Kendal. It's Em and Dom here from South Australia. So thanks for the call today. It's been really good. I just wanted to know, what's the one thing that you know now that you wish you knew when you were moving from World Team to Get Team?
Okay, so I can answer that fairly simply. We were sitting at about 35,000 organizational volume, and a couple called Kurt and Cindy O'Connell, they were touring Australia and New Zealand. And it was in the month of Chairman's Club that they got their announcement of Chairman's Club. And we qualified for a very special evening with them. There were only 3 distributorships, I think. And we're sitting down and we're going, man, how do we take our business to the next level? And they said, you're stuck. you're burnt out, you're this, you're that. They said, but you don't understand, we're working hard, nobody wants to do anything. And they said, we can draw your organization, but you draw your organization. I said, you're doing everything for everybody. And we said, what do you mean? He said, you're doing everything for everybody. So even our third line, we were doing all their presentations for them and all this type of stuff. So we were basically trying to do everything for everybody. And we could never, those people would never grow. And then we were exhausted. So we weren't attractive anymore. And we didn't have time to even go first line anymore. Okay. So the biggest thing that I would say is do the tell, show, try, do properly. Seriously, do the tell, show, try, do properly, and teach how to do the tell, show, try, do. And then make sure that you have a support structure that, and it's literally the conversation we've had in the last 10 minutes. Make sure you have a support structure, whether it's calls or whatever, that you can work by group with 80, 90% of the people. And Jim Rohn talks about this in his network marketing tape. And you work by individual that are going, yes, lots now, have the right attitude and are teachable. Because what we do is we get really excited and we make one or two distributors really important. And unfortunately, when they know that they're really important to you, they become really difficult to work with. It's just human nature. You might be lucky that you can marry somebody and they've got the same objective and they're really good mates with you or whatever it is. But I've found is the more that you make one person, they'll be great for 6 weeks, maybe 2 months, 3 months. Then they know that on every call, they're your key person. And maybe one of their people is also a key person to you and you don't have much else going on, which is typical when you sort of active world team. Is that familiar to any of you?
Yes, that's familiar to us. 100%, so, yes.
You need to get other people. And if you've got a structure, nothing is more powerful to go, hey, John, you're doing awesome. That's great. And you've taught them how to do stuff. But I've got Sally here. And man, I did a shake party with Sally and she got 3 new customers. And that's really cool. I'm so excited. By the way, how else can I help you? You're going to need a book. Let's make an appointment because I'm really getting busy with Sally. And I've got somebody else coming in now. And I've got these new customers. Your stories, Mark, is what Mark Hughes talked about. How do you overcome people's challenges? It's like when you phone up a customer that's struggling, you go, man, hey, Em, I've just got off the phone with Kara. She's just lost 3 kilos. She started at the same time as you. She's awesome, man. By the way, how are you doing? That's a Mark Hughes follow-up. Social proof. Does that answer your question?
Yes, 100%. Yes. Thank you, Kendal. That was perfect.
That wasn't the answer you wanted, was it? Because you actually knew that.
No, well, that stuff you just explained about having the 2 key people, I suppose that's something that I might have known, but I haven't heard before. So to hear it from you, I think it's sort of just it's brought it like to my attention, if that makes sense. So no, that was good. Thank you.
Sure, pleasure. Garrett.
Awesome. Thank you, Kendal. Does anybody else have a question? You have 5 seconds to unmute yourself. All right, time's up. Kendal, thank you so much. Again, that was such an incredible, piece of your wisdom and personal development and philosophy that we just got from you today. So we really appreciate the time. I know that I'm feeling super inspired and excited to take a lot of your philosophy and more so put into action, which I think is very important, obviously. So again, thank you so much for your time. Guys, please thank Kendal if you're friends with him on Facebook. I don't think Kendal's does much on Facebook, but
I'm learning.
Make him do something on Facebook. No, but that was awesome. Thank you so much, Kendal. Bye.
Thanks, Kara. Bye, everybody.